I'm not gonna lie. When Tyrion was sneaking up on Leon and Dirthan, my brain was just going, "What do I hear? Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on." Oh
Boogie down.
And that's how we start the vlog, guys.
Why, hello there, and welcome to vlog number 7 of session 7 of the Dragon Age Ascension season 3. Well, I've mixed it up totally wrong, but honestly, I've just had some terrible things happen to me. Yet, have they been solved? Go watch the session 7 if you haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
Uh,
A lot of stuff happened.
should just
Yeah,
go
poor
from
Tyrion.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not expect the Tyrion-centric story gonna happen today. I just thought it was gonna
Yeah.
be we're gonna get the Pentaviv stuff. We're then gonna go on the road. We have some roleplay on the road, and see what happens. I did not expect just suddenly Tyrion's like, okay, I was going to at some point talk with the belly dancer.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to be backstabbed royally, but that was amazing. That was well done.
Yeah.
That was a phenomenal. And by the way, Skull, I can just say from me, Tyrion's reaction after he had time to think about what happened and run away, that was awesome, and that was really, really good.
The whole part where it was going afraid or
yeah, that whole little traumatic episode, that was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Darren the Wrathful was a character that Skull came up with, but the way he wrote Darren the Wrathful, he wrote it as a man. But then I was like, So I actually had intended for him to be a man, but then I saw that image of the character Darren that I ended up picking out, and I looked at it, and I'm like, that's really interesting. I really like that character, and I was trying to think, how could I fit her into the story? And I thought, what if the whole point, her fighting style is she's a dancer, but her clothing is magically enchanted, and lets her deflect things and wrap around things. I thought that would be really cool. But then I thought, so would she just be a regular NPC like Rosie and Nathan? No, I kind of want her to be antagonistic. And so I made her Darren the Wrathful, and I made her an optional NPC because I was the group could easily kill her or just let her go off on her merry way and tell her not to come back. So, but then I thought she might be really interesting to introduce as a party member because she's trying to earn her freedom in a different way from Tyrion, and in her eyes is the legal way. So I think that I don't know, I was just trying to play with the gray, the black and white is not quite there in the situation.
You did a great job with just saying the whole gray area. I mean, it is a grayish area when we look up at Tevinter's slavery, because yes, it is their property, but it's just if you look at what the slaves have gone through.
I mean, even look at Dartham's situation. The thing is, for Dartham and Tyrion, they had experiences where they went, oh, honey, no, they're not going to let you go. But then if you look at, say, Andrea with Bostwick, that would totally be a thing Bostwick would do. So
yeah, and I did look it up. I did look up that indentured servitude in Tevinter is not uncommon. It does happen, and I did legitimately, at least for story purposes, Alexius genuinely does have full intention of providing her with her citizenship after this.
Okay.
So she does. So basically, that would have been a really easy out for her. However, you were able to convince her otherwise, and we'll see what the consequences of that is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what makes it unique. What makes it like that is because she's experienced from a different master. Yes, we don't know what her life was like, but in Tyrion's eyes, the way he was treated by Amarin, and the same with Derek, when he was treated by his master, they weren't the best, and they were going to be kept in. Even if I think even if Tyrion knew about that, he would ask. I would say Amarin wouldn't even give him that choice because probably he sees Tyrion as too valuable to be sold off as
same thing with Dartham and his master.
Yeah, so
By the way, I just the fan fiction lover in me really hopes that this is an enemies to lovers trope. I really that's my goal.
I think I made it very clear that Tyrion does fascinate her. Like she does. I don't think she's lying when she says you are a very interesting, one of a kind person, Tyrion. So I think that was very genuine.
Yeah.
And when she was saying I don't want to hurt you, I genuinely think she does like him, and the sense that she doesn't want to hurt him. She's just doing her job.
And they're both elves. They're both slaves. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe Leon will swoop in and take care of that virgin thing. That virgin thing,
You gotta. What is it? The whole party has to romance Tyrion. Because he's the heart of the party. So everyone just
somehow, yeah. It's no. As a player, I saw that she was. I think even as Tyrion, she saw she was being genuine. He is genuine. He wants to kind of show her, hey, it doesn't. You don't have to bow down to the master to get freedom. You have the choice to get the hell out of there. Yeah, and my favorite part about the session was just me finally. I was thinking about this. If I ever met with like a mercenary slave hunter, I want Tyrion to just suddenly like go ape shit, like just go like, fuck, no, I can't. This can't be like just him reliving his life again and just him babbling to everyone else. So
yeah, and I love that it was like Hark, that you didn't even need me to roll. Daretham just instantly knew, and then Daretham also knew. Not necessarily exactly what to do because he hasn't had to go through that himself, but he also sort of did because in many ways the archdemons had enslaved him. So it was really cool to go from Daretham's perspective. And the funny thing is Daretham is a total hypocrite. Like all the things he was saying to Tyrion, he 100% believes, but he doesn't think they're possible for him. So he's just like, all this is what you can do. This is what I know to be true. It's not possible for me because I'm too much of a monster, but you can do this. So
I also liked how you brought in Callista's Pasha's very, very lawful sort of ideologies into it.
Mhm.
She's Pasha is extremely lawful, and so the idea of different cultures and the way that they handle it. And Pasha did it. I mean, Callista did a very, very good job about the ideology that Pasha believed in.
Yeah, I think it's very easy for us to be on Tyrion's side of this situation because he's one of our PCs. So I was trying to not sow seeds of doubt on Pasha, but I at least wanted there to be another point of view to at least have a better understanding where Darren's coming from.
yeah,
Which I thought Pasha might be a little bit more sympathetic towards.
I mean, at least for me, just as a player, like I agree with both Tyrion and Darren, personally, and I think that in this case they are both right, and that neither are wrong. Because I think for Darren, possibly the best way she could get her freedom is to go through the indentured servitude, and for Tyrion, the best way to get his freedom is to escape. So frankly, Dominic is of the opinion that the only reason that this is a problem is because they are directly in conflict. Otherwise, both are right and both would be free.
Yep. I think you are exactly right. That was a purposeful clash, and I was hoping that you would ultimately you were going to do whatever you guys would do, but I was hoping that the confrontation resulted in a dialogue of some sort and more of a combat of wits than combat of strength.
I try my best to give my best argument, but honestly, I don't think I gave the.
But those are great arguments, man.
I tried.
Yeah.
I felt maybe like when she was talking the redemption thing, I was like, did I say the right word or did I?
Probably not, but
Yeah,
but still.
Yeah. But I do like that whole. I want to see the conversation of slavery now in between Darren, Pasha, and Tyrion, maybe, and even also Darren.
Like I love that for Pasha, it's not the possibility of becoming one without free will, because in some ways that's kind of what the Kunari are all about as a society. It's specifically about having your place in society be forcibly taken from you. And because tranquility can't happen to I mean, technically it can, though Pasha doesn't know that. But because she thinks it can't happen to her, she's like, this is his place. He was going out of his place, and now he is in his place. And there's nothing wrong with that, because this is how this class system, this way of the world should work.
Yeah.
But when it could be done to her because she does something wrong, that's just another way for the Inkanari to enforce that class system.
I was just kind of, because I do think Pasha is a hypocrite in a sense of like, I really don't want that to happen to me, so let's make some changes. And I think especially because she's now like, I now have these strange abilities which the Qun might like find highly offensive, so let's make those changes even quicker. No thank you. And I don't think it's necessarily completely self-serving, because she also wants to be perfectly honest, Pasha wants to bring the right of tranquility to the Qun. That's one of her things that she wants, because at least that way it's like the mages have been solved. Instead of giving them Gamek, we'll just make them tranquil and they'll have a bit more autonomy and they'll be all right. We still need to think of something for the non-mages, but like the mages will be better.
I think that's going to be a really interesting conversation. I think it's pretty obvious that a lot of Orlais, sure, there's going to be some Leon stuff, but I think a lot of Orlais is going to be very Pasha-centric.
Not to mention if she happens to have a conversation with Cedric, who was specifically going to abolish that.
Yeah. I wonder how...
And also the idea of losing your autonomy so much that you'll just die if you're not instructed to live. That is what's scary to me.
Yeah. Nathan definitely was not comfortable with that, but he was trying to be a little open-minded, but it was...
Like, for example, Manfred has more autonomy than that, and he's a corpse.
Yeah.
He's already dead.
Yeah.
So, in what respect is tranquility better than literally a vegetable,
I wanted to go back to something Dominic said when he mentioned that Pasha, said it was fine with her because it wasn't going to happen to her. And so that actually struck me on a very personal level. This might sound like a stretch, but for my mom, when I came out to her, I had this thought that, if you're gay, whatever, it's all cool, that's fine, you do you. But once my child is gay, as soon as it affects me, then it becomes a problem. So that's sort of like something that my mom personally had to struggle with and had to get through that challenge with me personally, because I do honestly think that, as long as it didn't affect me, like the whole homosexuality thing, I don't have to deal with it. But the moment that I brought it onto her, essentially like forced it upon her, then she had to actually like rethink things and had a bit of a struggle. So I thought that was really interesting, since it struck a personal note to me. So, anything else?
Blood magic!
Yes! The jig is up. Man. The rabbit's out of the bag, or the book's out of the bag.
Well, it's only for one person anyway.
Well, it's slowly going from party member to party member until everyone knows, right?
All I can say is I hope Pasha never finds out.
That'll be interesting.
So do I. I hope it gets to like the epilogue and it ends with like, and Pasha never found out anything about magic. She went and I was like, the mages are lovely out there.
That'd be amazing.
If I didn't push the idea that I wanted to talk with you guys after seeing all that, then I don't think Tyrion would have found out.
I think your perception skill is way too high for us to hide it from you for too much longer.
No. I mean, seeing, yes. Maybe. Okay. Seeing, yes. But the thing about Tyrion, this is something that kind of comes up to him, was I'm not going to give him empathy for now, even though for now, because he's as
naive.
Darren said, I am naive as fuck. So, and the cool thing about that scene was also like, maybe that's changed. Maybe there's a development that's going to happen. Maybe he's going to start distrusting a little bit. But
it was it was bad for Leon that it happened in the same day as the hunter comes after you.
Yeah.
Because this is going to make you be like, oh, like the hunter. So your moral compass is like this is naive. This is trusting no one. So the slave hunter made it go whoop, and then the blood magic made it go whoop.
No, it's funny because I think it's good that Daretham did reveal his eyes to you, because if he hadn't have, and you would have been like, you were a darkspawn the whole time, because now you at least know that something's up. So
so there's that character development of him. Now he's going to distrust some things. Yeah, that's going with, and the whole session, just like technically three people lied to him. And two of them lied to him multiple times, probably, throughout the course of the campaign.
Yep.
His naivety is definitely shaken up.
Oh, poor Tyrion.
I mean, this is what I wanted for Tyrion.
We're going through the hardening process with Tyrion, just like Alistair went through. So
people lied to me, man.
Meanwhile, the mages over here just going, hey, we're liars.
Pasha's looking slightly friendly, and it's like, yeah, she invades my space, but she's always been honest.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of Tyrion, this is a very brief moment, but I liked it a lot. The conversation between Tyrion and Nathan, like that brief conversation, because I don't think Nathan has interacted with Tyrion very much, but that was a really cool. You can clearly see that he cares about Tyrion, and
I really wanted to, like, at some point speak with Rosie or Nathan. I already spoke with Rosie last time a little bit, and she kind of knows a little bit about Tyrion now. With Nathan, I was hoping I get a talk with either of them this session, but I was happy that Nathan came to me and I understand Nathan completely to like what he's saying. And I love the joke where it just goes like, so if my dad was here, like, it would have been a complicated situation. And as a player, I'm like, yes.
I can't wait for a comment where David just goes, good job, Nathan. You're being a proper son.
Well, I know that Nathan's going to be very conflicted if he ever finds out about Leon and blood magic, because
or me.
It's right. Well, more for Leon and blood magic, because it would essentially be a repeat of the Maximilian Delwyn situation, because Maximilian found out Delwyn was a blood mage, and he just did not really accept that fully. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of that has been instilled in Nathan as well, so I'm sure Nathan's going to struggle a bit with that.
Jody was a circle mage, so she also had the same thing.
And Jody probably has, I
think
Jody also was not.
Blood magic was the cause of a time travel conundrum that caused countless deaths and untold destruction.
I find it a little bit funny that, like, so Maximilian is like the one who also hates blood magic. Then we look at, like, season 2, Cedric also hates blood magic. So it's like every season, like, they hate.
There's been at least one PC and a few NPCs who've been like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Sword and Shield Warriors.
Yeah. No, because Cedric had a halberd.
Oh, excuse me.
But warriors, all warriors.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh, I loved. It was a little moment, but I loved the talk at the start of the session with Daretham and his wife, and that whole talk. I really, really liked that. It's not very enjoyable for me just to have that moment where Daretham looks to Tyrion and he's just like, "Take your shot, buddy. You're not gonna have another chance." But also maybe don't listen to me, because apparently I don't realize when there's actually bounty hunters out going after you.
Daretham just has terrible taste in women. It's like, for her. She's got a sign that says, "I'll stab you." She looks friendly. I enjoyed getting vengeance on Rhaenyra.
Oh, that was awesome.
Part of me was actually happy that Tommy couldn't make it today, just because originally I was going to send Tom directly to Rousseau, but
Rousseau probably would have paid him or done something.
Right. But then I thought, I think it'd be way more entertaining, because I could have easily just waited till Tommy came back to do the scene. It's like, no, I think it'd be way more entertaining if Tom just tried to do business with Pasha instead, because, you know, I just want to see how many times he can call her toots before she snaps.
The answer is 3.
3.
I love the fact that
like,
Pasha actually seduced him, and
yes,
that to admit that was so cool.
I just love the Frida Karen.
Karen, yes.
It suits, but no.
Punch in the face.
Do you want to explain to the audience what the significance of Karen is?
Okay, so we have come to the conclusion that Pasha is a Karen. If you don't know what a Karen is, basically a middle-aged woman with a very particular haircut who wants to speak to your manager, and she will speak to your manager, even if you're not at work. Even if you're in the street, I want to speak to your manager.
Even if you are the manager.
Yeah.
Go,
the original
anyone
manager.
who's curious, go ahead and look up Karen compilation on YouTube. It is so funny.
And where I get a lot of my inspiration from, apparently.
She is the embodiment of 100 different Karens just combined to one to make
That's
Pasha.
Super Karen.
Yes. That's like a super form she has that she'll unlock as like a specific amount of chakra.
Everyone else ascends to be dragons, and Pasha just gets a haircut. I have reached my full form.
Super Karen!
Gains the spell, can I speak to your manager? Instantly demoralizes enemy, causes...
It's a TN99 test, willpower, self-discipline... No, willpower, courage.
Yeah.
So, you guys are on your way to Orlais. What are you guys planning on doing once you get to Orlais, besides Pasha's goal of looking for land dandelion? Is there anything else? I'm just curious. Leon, what are you going to do in Orlais?
I want to meet with Nazim, and then, I'm just going to do it as like a personal note, but now it's becoming a more business type note.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I think that would be really cool to catch up and see what she's been up to as of late.
Figure out the whole book stuff. Maybe visit the Tirashan where Leon's parents were.
That's true, because the woods are not too far away from there as well. So
a shovel to dig up some maybe loot.
You haven't been in those woods since you were taken.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I think that will be really interesting, unearthing questions and mysteries that you didn't realize were there.
Dun dun dun.
We're definitely going now.
Are there other, now that you also have gotten most of the NPCs as the party members, you've gotten most of them.
Oh really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what you're saying is it's the date section now.
I'm sorry, it's the
it's the
game can truly begin.
The shipping.
Now the real end game begins.
My question was, like, during as you guys are traveling from Navarra to Orlais, there will be some downtime to speak to everyone on the Normandy, as they say. So, is there a specific PC or NPC that you're looking to have some sort of role-playing moment with?
Actually, probably one or two. For Tyrion, I would like to maybe speak with Narika, just so he can at least cool down, because he just had a day of just truth breakers. So
I think Narika would love to hear that. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Maybe. And maybe chat with her. Maybe get a drink or something like that. At least to calm down. But I would also be interested to speak with Pasha, because I have not spoken to Pasha yet, and it would be interesting to have the conversation of slavery stuff, because she now knows Tyrion is a slave. How does she see to that?
I would have talked to everyone.
Yes.
But if you could pick one PC and NPC for now, just for now.
I think probably Tyrion.
Mm-hmm.
Just because also, aside from the slave stuff, Pasha and Tyrion haven't had the best relationship, with Pasha immediately invading his space, him jumping on her stuff, and so they were already kind of do we like each other? do we? And then there's the whole slavery opinions. I think it could either go horribly or kind of well, because Pasha she's, for people who are in servitude, it's like, well, you should clearly go along the correct path. But for people who've been kind of like abducted, I mean, you're a slave now, wahaha, because of what happened with Dandelion being taken. Like, she is very like, no, that shouldn't be happening. I'll beat you up, kind of feelings on that. So I think she kind of wants to get a grasp of like, was Tyrion taken and forced into this, or did he sign up to it and then got a bit, actually, I'm just going to leg it now.
Yeah.
And then actually, that also has the question for Pasha's ideals. If you're born into it, but your ancestors were forced into it, like say Dertham. Dertham was born into slavery. He has been a slave his entire life. And frankly, his entire life has been going from one master to a slightly more wealthy master. But his people were very much forced into it. He would not choose ever to be a slave. And it was simply because he had no other possible choice that he was doing it. So that's another thing about Pasha's morals to question.
So what you're saying is that, Tyrion, you need to start the conversation with, hey, toots.
If that happens, I think the one answer I get is a punch in the face.
Yes. Okay.
Or a knee in the groin. One of the two.
Yeah.
Secret
Or a
dialogue
shield battle.
action.
Pasha starts smiling at you and starts sashaying, and then you run away. You're like, no, I know what's going on.
If you could choose one NPC to talk to, Pasha, which one would you talk to?
I think probably Master Ignaldo, because there are a few things that Pasha wants to do with Valor that would probably catch his attention.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. I think that'd be really interesting. I don't think you've had, like you said, have had a full conversation with Master Ignaldo, so I think that would be cool. How about Leon or Dertham? Which PC NPC?
Well, as for PC, everyone, I probably either Tyrion or Rousseau specifically for the Darkspawn revelation. Tyrion because I'm just curious how he would react, but more specifically Rousseau because I'm curious how he would react to me being the specific Darkspawn, because I think that'll be the big conundrum with that whole Darkspawn thing, and that's what I want to explore there. As for NPC, Darren or Rosie. Rosie for the same reason as Rousseau, because she knows about me. She knows about all that stuff. Specifically, I just kind of want her to come up and say, hey, Dartham, so I know you're the butcher. I just kind of was letting you know I'm spying on you. And I kind of just want that to happen. And I almost feel like she would do that. So
I think certain things would have to happen in order for her to do that. But yes, I can see it happening.
That's like kind of the fun thing, but I'd be curious how that conversation would go. But Darren, because out of all of the NPCs we have, Darren is the only person I think Dartham would actually seek out to talk to. Everybody else, he would pretty much say, you come to me if you want to talk because I am too much of a danger to you. But for Darren, I don't know why. I think it's for the same reason she wants to talk to Tyrion. Because he
is fascinated by...
Yeah. And I don't think he can really put a specific reason on why. At least not that I can think of. It's more just out of everyone, maybe even more than Tyrion, he can really relate to Darren. Because Tyrion is, while naive, this really amazing optimist. And to Dartham's mind, he is very much a cynic and very much fully in the I can't be redeemed kind of thing. And for Darren, she is, I think, very selfish, very self-confident. Like, she knows what she wants and she knows that she feels she is right. And I guess that personality, I think, is something that both clashes and aligns with Darethim at the same time.
Yeah, I think the way when you mentioned redemption, I think that's interesting because I think she herself said that you can't be redeemed for something that you don't believe is wrong in the first place, or something along those lines. Also, I think that would be #DarrenThem. So, yeah, that'd be interesting.
I will say just from me, and this might be just because I'm actually straight in real life, but out of everyone, Darren so far is the one who seems most viable for a romance for Darethim. But even then, that's kind of tenuous. So, yeah.
Darren's available. And she's not a virgin. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Leon.
I very much appreciate that she and Darethim had that moment of connection where they're just like, we are surrounded by virgins.
Yes.
We are the cool people, and they are not.
Oh, God, I've just got this image of like, I thought I'd die a virgin. Me too. Yeah, me too. Just everyone, yeah, me.
It's like all the PCs go, man, I thought I would die a virgin. And then me and Darren are just like, guys, it's just sex. Come on.
Maybe you had no loved one before.
It's just a griffin. Come on. Just a griffin.
Oh no.
I don't know why he would seek her out, but I think it's just because in Darren, he sees enough of a cynical soul to see us like a similar soul in Darren. And out of everyone, I think Darren would understand Darethim's self-hate the most, if that makes sense. I'm not sure, but I feel like out of everyone, she might like be able to get it, if not relate to it, but be able to
Maybe. Yeah.
So I think that with the revelation of Tyrion being like, haha, I've stolen your secret, he's going to be a little worried that maybe others would, and so logically I think he may sort of semi start to avoid Pasha, but at some point that's going to backfire because Pasha's like, oh, I've not seen Leon in a while, let's go find him.
You're just going, yeah, okay, so I do. Oh no.
Oh no. So
And NPC wise, okay.
But I think that since Tyrion and Leon are bunking together, there's a lot of like late night. So you cut yourself and like late night sort of heart to heart sort of chats about.
You are lucky Tyrion is not going to drop that. He's gonna take his leaf painting and just gonna put it down.
No.
Nope, it's no longer there.
Yeah. Oh man, but but NPC wise, I was thinking like maybe Rosie or Nathan. Because Nathan has the Gatlocks and he has, like the magic of science, and wanting to learn more about that, as well as Nathan. Why the heck did he agree to just, join this merry band of travelers? Like, yeah, he's, trying to get home, but he's not really trying to get home. And, we saw that he came with Pasha, but,
And I think you guys are roughly the same age. I think you guys are about the same age.
Yeah. No, that's true.
17.
Lethan.
Oh no. It has the word leaf in it, so it has to happen.
Yeah.
Nathan's available too.
He's very adorable in that pink bunny outfit.
That's true.
Yeah, Mr. Bun. Field day right there.
There you go.
Yeah, like Nathan hears a noise at night, knocks on the door, and then Leon has like his bunny in his arms, like, oh, what's going on?
Right. Leon's got a thing for bunnies, or things that look like bunnies. So, what were you gonna say, Dominic?
I was also just saying, I've noticed that, I'm not sure if it's a specific character thing or just engaging Callista, but Nathan's been asking a lot about the Qun.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot more than is normal of someone just curious.
Yeah.
A new convert.
Oh.
His dad is crazy lawful.
Exactly. And the Kyun is like definition of lawful.
Correct. So I think that's one of the main reasons why Maximilian is very comfortable with aligning with the Kyun, because they at least have that commonality between the two. And I think for Nathan, the way that he was raised, lawfulness gives him stability. And so I think that he's just curious about the Kinari because Pasha seems like a great person and she's very strong, and I think he admires that. So he sees her as a very like a that really cool aunt or something that he never had, and I guess he's just very curious about that. And plus, I wanted to draw more about Pasha's thoughts on the Kyun versus what's happening in the world, and Nathan is just the easiest NPC to get that from her, because I think he's the NPC that attached to her the most. So those are the reasons why.
Yeah.
Pasha's like the crazy aunt who is joined a cult, and it's a cult, but they're not like forcing her to do anything like real bad, but she seems real happy, so you're just like, I'm happy for you, but
It'll be,
Yeah.
it'll be
And like your dad's company sponsors the cult, so it's like,
That's how he got his Gatlock gun. So.
Oh my god.
Scaled ones.
Scaled
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Scaled ones.
Yes.
Scaled ones, though.
Yeah. Gremlin Mike, like I said, has been helping me a lot with that. And many things about the scaled ones in this campaign have been from him. So I think we've been collaborating on that. So that'll be really cool.
Nice.
I like the sort of Chinese-ish elements to them. That seems like it's taking some inspiration, which I think is really cool.
There was talks when I was doing some research that the map that we know it is still not complete of Thetis, according to BioWare, and that they were thinking about dipping into other cultures, including Eastern or Asian cultures, for some of the unmapped regions. And that's what sort of got me thinking, oh, that would be kind of a cool flavor for the scaled ones if they were Asian inspired, which makes sense because Dragons is associated with Asian culture or Eastern culture a lot too.
I mean,
and the difference between Asian dragons typically is they are much more seen as not so much beasts. They're much more seen as like almost godlike figures, where they have intelligence and they can grant wishes and all that stuff. So,
like Mushu from Mulan. I'll just tell Mike he needs to work on his Eddie Murphy accent.
And actually, that could even be the old gods, because if the scaled ones were doing that and they had that sort of power,
yeah. Oh, before I forget, I couldn't mention this during the session, but I wanted to reveal some behind-the-scenes stuff, that when Tyrion yelled at Pyrrhus to stop talking or I'll throw a dagger.
I'll throw a knife at you.
Stop talking. So when Pyrrhus stopped talking, he started attempting to communicate with Mr. Bunn telepathically. And he was trying to tell Mr. Bunn, all right, listen, Mr. Bunn, I don't like you and you don't like me, but looks like we have a common enemy here. So are you with me? You need to whatever, brainwash him or mind warp or whatever voodoo you can do, and we'll have a temporary truce. What do you say? So that's what was going through his head while he was not talking.
I love that so much.
So the original goal was to keep this unhinged sort of old god, that is Pyrrhus, who has arcane knowledge and can do who knows what, semi constricted by a plushy toy,
Yeah.
You gotta keep him on his toes, so he thinks, well, what if that house of cards comes jumbling down? And he's like, you've been up flush this whole time.
And now they want my blood, which I don't know why Mr. Paul would even agree to that life because of Leon, like Tyrion and Leon's relationship. What? No, okay.
I also love that it's very much become with Leon that Daretham is like the angel on Leon's shoulder and Tyrus is the devil.
Yeah. Oh, I do have to say that surprisingly, Daretham has been the moral compass of this whole party. Like, what? How did that happen? That's a very.
I don't know. I really don't know. I think that's partly me just being me. Because Daretham is very much not exactly a self-insert, but he has a lot of aspects of me. So I think that's one part of it. I think the other part though is that Daretham he's a good person and he has good ideologies and he's generally, I'd say he has a good head on his shoulders. Basically, when it comes to everything but himself, I think he's pretty wise and he's pretty empathetic and he's pretty smart and he's able to see the world in how it actually is, which is all about perspective and all about like the context of the situation. Like right now, he doesn't see that with, but I think actually that's why partly why he wants to talk to Darren is because he doesn't quite see her perspective and he doesn't quite understand how she could think that, because to his mind, he knows not all Tevinter is bad, but he does believe that Tevinter doesn't let its slaves go away. He doesn't let them like legitimately get freedom. Which is why he said 24 years and nothing. But back on track. But with himself, because of his very emotionally turbulent circumstances, with all that millennia of effective servitude and lack of free will, and eating your sister, all of that has made his self-perception and self-worth very skewed. So I think that dichotomy makes him the biggest hypocrite, but also is very interesting because when it comes to anyone else, he's pretty on the ball. But when it comes to himself, he needs someone else to teach him his own medicine.
Is he like trying to kind of like teach others like, hey, don't make these obvious kind of mistakes, otherwise you'll end up like me?
I think that is a part of it. I think he feels he himself is irredeemable and that he wants to ensure others, whether that is through annihilating Darkspawn and helping save people that way physically or mentally, with Leon saying blood magic is okay, but it's how you use it, which is the thing that could be okay or not. And he's trying to help others be better than he thinks he could ever be. Because even before, when he was a slave, like I've alluded to it, and in my head, he's like tortured people. He's murdered people. He's murdered children, maybe even. Like, I think he has done awful, awful things in the service of keeping Cerys and his family and his wife safe and keeping that status quo alive. And in many ways, he envies Tyrion. He sees Tyrion as what he could have been, but better. And with Darren, it's the same thing. He kind of envies Darren. He sees that while your circumstance, you still had the strength to go through. And with him, he sees himself kind of as the weakling who gave in to the darkness to save those he cared about, which in the end worked out to kill those he cared about.
It's like a sort of like repenting is what's going on with Darren.
Yeah, he's like, it's very much a thing of, I am on my last life, and I'm going to make sure that while I can't live a good life, I will ensure that I can help as many others as I can. It's basically like a final journey with suicide at the end of it. And similar to Tyrion, where he's helping as many people as he can. The difference is for Tyrion, he has a life ahead of him that he sees, where Daretham sees nothing but death.
Yeah. You can say Daretham and Tyrion are somewhat similar in intentions of helping others. Just different ways.
I mean, my whole thing with blood magic, with my initial thought of Daretham being a blood mage, was to question the morality of blood magic. And it's nice that I get to do that even not being a blood mage, because I have Leon there to say that. I still think it's so funny. Tyrion's like, you've been practicing blood magic, Dareth, and you've been teaching him. And I'm just like, okay, first off, I'm offended that just because I'm
Yes.
the old one and in like the dark hermit robe,
Yes.
you think I'm automatically bad.
Stereotypes.
Also,
Stereotypes.
not a blood mage.
Right. That's fine. Also, I mean, that was Tyrion's original thought. So.
Well, Tyrion was also the one that thought that Balin was demonically possessed.
Yes.
So.
Yes. I still find funny and hilarious.
And I do think it's really funny that between the two mages, the young, like, hopeful kid who's wearing white and who's like the super nice healer guy is the evil blood mage, and the decrepit, darkspawn, horrible, black-clad, horrendous-looking person is the guy who's like who would be a healer if he had that magic.
Yeah. I sort of, at least what I was going to do with blood, how well someone can keep their goodness, or their sense of self while being steeped in like a evil art.
Humanity.
Like it's nice having Daretham being like, yo, try not to like gank some people, and then Harrison's being like, yes,
Gank some people.
Sam, what are your thoughts on the fact that David and Clara Faust were involved in some expedition that involved scaled ones, apparently, and the chakras?
At least from the artifacts he found, he's slightly worried. Well, they found a map, and the map seems pretty well put together, and then Clara and David don't look like they're injured, but having that many artifacts, unless you did a service or you did something, you either pilfered them or you made friends with the locals. So he's hoping that it's friends with the locals, since they have the map, and the map seems to be a very detailed and written in scaled one.
And they sealed it themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
The last question I will ask is, I think Dominic mentioned this, that there are 7 chakras and there's 5 of you. Who do you think the other 2?
I feel like Mike might be one. I feel like Grandma Mike.
You think Mike might be one? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
it has to be
more.
a lizard folk of some description, right?
Or scale.
Because we have scales and wings. I think he might be scales. I don't know who wings is, though.
If it turns out it's Valor.
Yeah, it's obvious.
That's a really good point. That's actually a really good point.
But then,
Thank you.
What constitutes as who can be a valid target? Could a fox be a valid target? Could a griffin be a valid target? Could a person or some other sentient being be a valid target? I mean,
yeah.
It could even be the case where it was like the Pentaviv situation where they're reincarnated, like these avatars are reincarnated, and if that's the case, because I was reincarnated, let's say, chosen, whatever, a while ago. And then Pasha was a little bit later, but then Tyrion, Rousseau, and Leon were all within like a few hours.
It was Pasha, Tyrion, and Leon.
Oh, never mind. So then
Rousseau had the thing on his arm in Navarra before journeying to the carnival.
Right, okay. So then never mind. So then but even still, that's 3 people, and if it's a reincarnated thing, maybe that means a lot of scaled ones died for some reason. Which also kind of correlated with an old god waking up.
Mm-hmm. This is a super tinfoil hat type theory. Just gonna put it out there. Maybe it's like a mental sort of reincarnation. For example, Daretham was reincarnated through taint. He was tainted and then came back. Leon was reincarnated through blood. The huge, sort of blood mage debacle with killing his parents. Tyrion was reincarnated through freedom. He made a choice after a lot of internal thought and resolve, and decided to run away. Pasha was reincarnated through worry or strife or
Loss, yeah.
loss, because her dandelion. And then Rousseau was reincarnated through his son. Like, that is a huge turning point. Like, there'd be,
That's
Yeah.
good.
Very good thought, man. That's wow.
Yeah. Even if it's not true,
But-
that's a great just theme, the whole campaign.
Yeah.
That's just the normal call to action for a hero, though. So,
It's
could
almost
just
like
be.
it's almost like the five of you ascended into a different form, into a different being.
Whoa.
Oh
Hey,
my.
we know why it's called Ascension now. Hey.